Hey, welcome to Power to the Flower. Today is middle of May and I want to take you guys on a May garden tour. I planted up this bed around January 15th, very extensively shared with you what plants I planted, and so I thought today would be a great day to show you how everything's looking now that it's middle of May, because there's a lot of great plants in here, a lot of great annuals, as well as long-standing perennials and evergreens that I want to share with you. Also, to start us off, the sun is shining on this amazing lemon tree. So I posted a video a few months back on how to prune a lemon tree using tree science as your guide. My father-in-law is a tree scientist and he explained to me the difference between a heading cut and a thinning cut. So check out that video. I think it's gonna be right up here. If you're interested in knowing how to prune your citrus tree, the lemon tree is doing great. Let me just show you a couple of the cuts that I made and how they're doing. So right over here, I cut off a branch. Oh, it's right here. It has so much growth on it that I didn't even recognize it. So this branch I did a heading cut on. Look, it's still fresh and it has a number of new shoots. This one in particular is the one I'm excited about because it's going this way. And if you back up a little bit, we can show them how this was the reason why I did this. I want this branch to fill in this space right here. So I'm excited that's actually happening. I also did a heading cut up here and you can see there's some branch new growth, and this branch is also going that direction, because when you back up you can see that the tree all of the branches and leaves are heading this way, and I wanted to fill it in back here. And I hope my goal is to have kind of like a weeping kind of arc shape. So that's so great. So that's that. Okay, next we have right here our Raw Doll David Austin rose. David Austin is a British rose breeder and I love his roses, and this one is called Raw Doll. You can see it's just beginning to push some buds, so we're gonna have something beautiful happening really soon. This pot was planted with this rose maybe in February, and it was a Bareroot rose, which means it just came looking like sticks, and it has done really, really well. I keep neem oil around, which I also posted in my Instagram stories recently. I use that maybe on like a every 2-week basis as preventative for aphids, powdery mildew, and little white flies. That would be my top tip of the day. All right, and then moving on, let's talk about this amazing plant. So this plant is one of my very favorites. I just think it looks like candy. It's so delicate looking, but it's actually quite sturdy. It's an annual in all zones. It's called Lavatera trimestris, or rose mallow. The particular variety is called Pink Blush, which I think is aptly named. And you could just see it already has so many blooms all over it, but there's even more coming. Also, this plant I used last year in a pot. It got about this tall. It's like, I think that it's supposed to be up to 30 inches tall and wide, and it definitely has met that here in the ground and with enough time. So it was planted in January and I have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So then the other thing I planted in here was a variety of poppies, 7 different varieties actually. And unfortunately, a lot of them have blown away with the wind, but I'll make sure to put some pictures on the screen as well. I'll try and come out here tomorrow morning before I make the video and just show you what they look like. Every morning I get new poppies. It's been super fun. They've probably started blooming in April, although this variety right here is called Black Peony, and it just started opening maybe last week. It has all of this kind of amazing rufflage. I think it would be considered a double. It's just got tons and tons of petals. So at the end of 24 to 48 hours, the petals begin to kind of blow away. And then you're in with these like amazing seed heads. This is one that hasn't opened yet, but is just about to burst forth. So it's just so exciting. I've super enjoyed using poppies in my garden because every morning it's like a new excitement about which ones opened and what varieties I have new every morning. So Some people I've posted about these in different gardening groups, and some people are saying, you know, I wouldn't use annual poppies. This is a Papaver hybrid. I wouldn't use them because they only last a day and they're annuals. But if you were to leave the poppies until the seed heads burst, then they would self-seed potentially. That said, that isn't my plan. I just did this for this 1 year for fun because I love changing things up, and I plan on planting something different in this rack bed next year. So as we zoom around the back, I planted this one right here. This was my second one to bloom. It's called Afghan Pink. It has been a super fun one. It has these ruffly edges, this light pink top edge and white bottom. I think I've gotten like 5 blooms off of this one. This one grew quite tall. It had huge seed heads. I'll try and put a picture up. It was very exciting when it opened. Then I deadheaded the seed heads, and it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, and we're getting another crop of blooms. You can also note the color of the stalk and the leaves. I think this is something that I want to show you because in my opinion it's not that great, and I would want to know stuff like this. So the black peony is also kind of turning color like that, but because it's kind of hidden in the Lavaterra more, you don't really notice. So I think that's something to take note of for future. If I were to plant more poppies, I would definitely make sure that they're covered in the front. Okay, this one right here is called Cupcake.
Oh, no, like this.
Okay, so you see we have Cupcake here. This one has given me a plentiful amount of blooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10, with some more to come. As a poppy begins to open, it goes from this curved position, and then on the day that it opens, it straightens up totally and then brings its beautiful poppy head to life. In the lower area, I have a bunch of perennials and evergreens. So this one is sedum. This is called Dragon's Blood. It is this lovely green color in the spring and summer, but in the winter it turns this amazing red, which I love. This one here, this one is spent, but this one is coming. It's called Cherry Drumsticks. It's from, I think it's from Turkey. Notice it's deer tolerant. It has this lovely round mounding of foliage, and then it sends up these tall 18-inch stalks with hot pink kind of globes of flowers on. And you can see I have some more coming. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one's gonna be fun. I have some more back there that haven't begun to send up stalks yet because I think they're getting less sun than this guy right here. This one is called, so good morning, it's the next day. I had a couple technical issues yesterday with my microphone dying. So you get to join me to just view the poppies as they open every morning for me. And I come out here and with my coffee and I enjoy a little gander. Okie doke, so since it's the next morning, I'm gonna have to finish my tour without my trusty videographer, but that's okay. The next flower we have is this blanket flower. The variety is called Mesa Peach. Blanket flowers love sun and they give tons of colorful blooms. I highly recommend it. It's a perennial in our area. Another perennial here are these purple ones called Calibrachoa, or Super Bells if you buy the Proven Winners variety. All right, you can see the border is coming along fabulously. This is Lemon Coral Sedum by Proven Winners, and this is also Proven Winners Royal Magenta. Loving these, Super Tunia Royal Magenta. I have a few ranunculus that I left when I planted this border, and now I wish I had left more because they did turn out beautifully. The leaves kind of looked like weeds until the beautiful plant came up, and now I just wish I had left more bulbs, but I'm definitely going to try again next year. You plant ranunculus in the fall. All right, here we have what's called a Hamer Pandora. I planted this one for its really dark leaves. I thought that that would be a nice contrast in this bed. It says 3 feet high and wide. It has not turned out that way. It's not very wide. It's probably 12 inches wide, and it's not much of a mound, which is what I had imagined. But we're gonna see how it goes. This is a Checker-Mallow. I think this has been a fabulous plant. It's just given me blooms since planting in January. Back here we have a few more of the cherry drumsticks. These ones get less sun, so you can see they haven't started to put their spikes up yet. Like this one, it's beautiful. The biggest flop thus far has been this Delphinium. I ended up planting one variety, switching it out for this variety called Blue Lace because my dog ran over the other one lots of times and I thought I want to give it a chance to grow. So I planted maybe like a month later a new one. It has not changed in size at all. And I think that's because it didn't have a chance compared to these annuals. The Lavaterra and the poppies grew at a much quicker rate than the Delphinium, and it just couldn't keep up. And so I am excited to see what happens next year when these plants are all gone and it gets more sun and more light and its roots are a little bit, you know, in the ground for a little bit longer. It's more established. Sometimes the second year is better. Okay, and you can see out here, here is my clematis. I planted this to grow up the lemon tree, but like the Delphinium, it wasn't able to keep up with all of the vigor of the annuals, and so now it's kind of crawling out to find the sun. The thing about that one is I think it's going to be fabulous when it gets a chance next year because this is the same variety. It's so bright. I hope you can see this. It's growing well on this obelisk. Clematis or clematis like to be covered on their roots. So this is a Euphorbia called Diamond Mountain, and it is kind of guarding the bottom bit of the plant, which keeps it kind of in shade. And then the top bit of the plant, it gets lots of sun. So it's very, very happy. And this is the type. I don't even want to pretend to say it, but it's going to have purple blooms. And you can see the buds are just starting to show. So here's Poppy of Troy. When this one opened, the blooms were as big as my hand. And with each new flush of blooms, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. I don't know if I had fertilized it, if that would have changed. I'm not really sure. But you can see Poppy of Troy is the one that gave me the most blooms. If you want a bloomerific plant, this is the one for you. All of those seed heads were glorious blooms. Okay, this was my favorite poppy. It was called Drama Queen. It also had tons and tons of blooms. The foliage stayed clean until about a week ago, so I liked it for that reason. It was very beautiful. I'll put some pictures up. Overall, it was my favorite. All right, down here I also planted 2 Pincushion flowers, which are just kind of like wild fun. That's why I like them. They kind of send their little blooms out everywhere. Those are happy. Back here is an apricot mask flower, which again, it's too small, and so it doesn't get enough sun because of all of these awesome poppies and Lavaterra. So it's not blooming very well. This would be one to move. Because of all the shade that was formed in this area, I planted a couple Heuchera obsidian, 1, 2, and I'm imagining those to eventually kind of embrace this edge of the rock bed. Here's another ranuncula. Let's zoom in on those other poppies over there. So this one was Lauren's Grape, absolutely gorgeous. I loved its super dark purple coloring. It grew to about 3.5 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall. It has plentiful blooms. It was the last of the 7 to finally open. So now we've kind of come back around to the poppies we started with. Here's Cupcake, and I'll just show you what they look like this morning. The Afghan Pink and White bloomed 3 new blooms for me today. Super pretty. This is its second flush after I deadheaded, and so they're a slightly smaller, but just gorgeous. I love the frill. I think that's why I like Drama Queen as well, because of kind of this, it looks like someone took scissors and went after the tissue paper blooms. Really, really beautiful. And then Black Peony this morning. I hope this this was helpful in terms of sharing with you the update on this bed and these plants. Oh, and I did want to tell you about the light situation. The plants from the blanket flower back, these are getting about 5 hours of sun a day. So the plants from the Afghan Pink and White and the Lawrence Grape to the front, they are in the full sun all day, and I think that they all really have thrived in that area. I hope that was helpful. I really love posting these videos and just showing you what I learn each day and each week in my garden. I post the videos on Tuesdays on YouTube, but you can find me during the week on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks so much for joining me here. See you in the next one. Bye!
Thank you.